A very fantastic evening to you, viewers. Wherever you're catching us live from, I'd like to say thanks so much for watching us. And it's always a big pleasure being with you on Sada TV. And it's a time for what we call the Sports Desk right here. We shall be exclusively discussing the biggest sporting stories that are making headlines today. From locally, we shall be going national. Then from national, we shall be crossing borders and we shall talk about European sports in there. Whatever you're catching us, I would like to say thanks so much. One of the biggest personalities who are watching us is Nico down in Italy. He's one of the biggest fans of the show. He works with 1xBet. He's one of the bookmakers that the world is currently looking at. Joining me today for the show, I do have my usual guys with me in the studio. So I do have the only pride actually in the Western Island. That's none other than Rubanga Ken Morris. You're most welcome for the sports
Thanks,
show today.
Thanks, Jero, and thanks, Sarah Stevie. It's on not. I'm not only the pride actually in West Nile. I'm the pride actually in the entire world. So. Morris Rubankeni is once again my name. I'm the pride one. I'm the proud one in the entire world. The entire world, a pride Luo. Let me just make it Luo. So here are catching up for sports. Viewers, you're welcome.
All right, thanks so much. That's the voice, and that's the guy you're seeing on the cameras here. That's none other than Rubanga Ken Morris. I do have Ngota Ray. He has kind of rebranded his name from Ray Truth to Ngota Ray. I don't know what the secret behind that. You're most welcome for the sports show today.
Thank you so much, Zero, for hosting me also today. And it's a wonderful evening. And I must say that hello to the viewers who are outside there watching us. And it's a pleasure to be in Sarales TV.
All right, thank you so much. That's the voice of and the pick, as well as Ray, who is kind of committed a little bit. He'll be telling us some of the details. I think he got some small work to do somewhere. He's kind of tasked to one of the schools. You remember, it's the primary school ball games that are coming up very soon. He's trying to actually make sure that the school that he's trying to lead in makes amends in the tournament there. But let's first get the story started with one of the biggest stories that make headlines yesterday. That's about a team in the name of Navy Central Football Club who won their first game against Young Elephants Academy 1-0 at the Luo grounds yesterday. But again, last week, but again yesterday, the reverse fixture of this game was played down in Nyoya. But it was an upset for the team in the name of Nepsine Football. They were walloped by 3-1. What an embarrassment for team Nepsine Football Club. Morris.
It's a big gong for that Young Elephants there, and it's a big sorry for Navy Central. I've been following Navy Central so close, and I thought maybe they could really make it because after getting a win at home, 1-0. I think they would have gone with the mindset of maybe actually let's get another goal and try to defend. So how do you defend when you're in a visiting side? You need to, the more you attack, the more you give more threat to the opponent. So I think they went with the mentality of relaxing behind and defending the one goal, whereby I think Young Elephants Academy didn't give them opportunity, and they had to concede all the 3 goals, and then that's mean in average it's 3-2. Whereby it could not see Navy Central anywhere to qualify, but still they remain one of the biggest team in regional league in West Nile. Yeah, they have the fan base, they have the stadium. Let them just come back and get ready for the next season, and then we see what may turn over next season. But they're a good team.
Ray, Navy Central Football Club went into this game with a lot of superiority complex in there. Remember how they approached this game was kind of very, very actually enticing in them. They went with a lot of vigor. They thought that they've sealed the way through, and unfortunately, things turned down for them.
The opponent team may not take it like, let me say, having TikTok. Yesterday, I remember telling you that Navy Central, yes, is going for DC game. And if they really wanted to win DC game, they should start from a 0 minutes. You understand? They should start from a 0 minutes. But I don't know what happened. But football is always football. At the end of the minute, you only get one of the things. Either you win, you draw, or you lose. So it's not a big surprise. That's what is in
But,
football.
but we should also remember that these guys down in Noya, they're already at home. The same vigor Navy Central took over to win at home. I think is the same vigor they did. What they did, I think they gave high, very small capacity seat for the visitors. Then they crowded. The whole crowd was them. So the fan base was too big for Nebi Central. It was too big. Like they did what they called tit for tat. Nebi Central, by the time they're playing first division, some of them even slept on the pitch. They came all along from Zeo, from Zombo, from where they slept over. By the time these other fans were coming from nowhere, the pitch was already full. So I think this was just a tit for tat thing. Let the crowd be over and over, and we kill the game off. And you know, like there are some players who are really shy of like playing with them. I think as Ray said, football is football. They were smartly defeated because if you look at the minutes they conceded those goals, it shows that maybe their defense was quite a but the most annoying part, one of the best goalkeeper in the league conceded one of the highest goals so far in his record. That's the goalkeeper of Nebi Central. He has been one of the outstanding goalkeeper. But no doubt, I know they're getting back into the league next season.
Morrissey, let's talk about the game approach itself. Remember, Team Young Elephants Academy came into this game prior to the first league. They dominated Neptune Football Club from the word go at Luo Grounds. It was that they were kind of unlike to find the back of the net at Luo Grounds. But after picking the weaknesses of Team Neptune Football Club, they went to the drawing board and they make amends, beating them by 3-1. How easy was that win for Team Young Elephants?
You see, as I told you, home advantage. And remember, they have been playing on different leagues. So this was now to determine who is going to qualify onto the league. They have never they have been meeting friendlies, but in the real game in the real sense, they have never met. This was a qualification from Northern Region to West Nile Region. So the two teams were a little bit technical, unlike Nebi Central, who is supposed to be marked. How are we going to the Young Elephants coach mastered how to play Nebi Central at home?
But let's talk about technical. Let's talk about Nebi Central Football Club in case they were to go through. Remember, Team Nebi Central Football Club was playing the big league on the bracket into the meeting for the brackets with them. Then let's look generally about the balance in Northern Uganda. We have two teams already play in the Bedford for big league. That's Blast Power and Young Elephants Academy. Then in West Nile, we shall be having a team in the names of Onduparaka Football Club, and then the Black Angels, who did actually their best to see that they wanted to make amends and push it through to the Southern Uganda. But unfortunately, they didn't make it through. So it's not a balanced affair in Northern Uganda generally.
It's kind of balanced affair, but it's high time Northern Region and the entire West Nile should understand that this is a game of brain. The more you promote your team into Ugandan Premier League or Big League, the more it will give high time for the central teams to come and also suffer a little bit here. So I think it's high time to come together and say at least every season we need to push 2 to 3 teams or 1 team into Uganda Premier League, and you maintain, it remains. The way Onduparaka tried maintaining the record of remaining in Ugandan Premier League for long, and then later on they were relegated. So they are now struggling, pushing back. I think the more you maintain, the more development of football it comes into the region. Because if Onduparaka didn't qualify from West Nile, I think most of the teams would have been still reluctant, playing fourth, playing zonals, playing regional, playing big league. But now, at the moment, somebody comes from Kampala, a team comes from Barara also. Let them feel the way that these people are. Northern Region is becoming better in football, but it has been in record. We have always been better, but they always pick these players, they take them somewhere else. The only thing now, I think for me, it's a good development. Me as a owner of a certain club by the name of Green Forest, as chairman, I do believe I'm very willing to promote football within West Nile or within Northern Uganda, so that actually even like these inter schools, I do believe if you look at the money because this is now, you talk about the business aspect. The more you go to play in Mbarara, the more you go to play in Kampala, you spend more money in lodges, foods and everything. So now, what if that money is now coming to 3 to 4 teams in northern Uganda? That one is it's a very good development. You will find maybe you could find these hotels getting money, because players cannot come and sleep on the pitch. No, they have to hire hotels. So I believe that maybe with time, Northern Region will take over in sports.
All right, but let's talk about the preparation that the team, Northern, the team that comes from Northern Uganda, that's Young Elephants, will do. Remember, the Bet Power Football Big League is set to kick off in late September. What should they do? Will they be important to make the football requirement to see that the team plays actively in the Big League next season?
Now, that question, I can say yes. The reason being because why are they participating in the game of football? Which means they are ready to face any other challenges. And I think, yes, they will follow the rules and regulations that the FIFA will amend to them, because what I normally know is before the league, they'll first come and assess whether you're having this and that and that. But to me, I think, yes, Young Elephants are going to follow all the rules and they're capable of doing everything.
Okay, that's according to Ray. But let's look at the team that have gone through to the team that were relegated from the Southern Uganda Premier League. That's Boma Football Club, there was Malda, the Bosoga United, and then Arua Hill. The team that have qualified for Big League next season include a team in the names of Bonyarunguru, that comes from Rintori district. One of the teams that I think is the maiden season to play in Big League. And then we have Shatita from Kampala, and then we have Iganga United that comes from Iganga district. And then Team Young Elephants from Nyoya is the one replacing them. But let's leave it at that, and then we cross over to one of the biggest stories making headlines in Ugandan football. Let's talk about Uganda, generally FIFA not paying clubs after winning the Southern Uganda Premier League 2023-2024 season. Clubs are still demanding FIFA for their actual prize money. What an embarrassment by FIFA to clubs.
It's truly a big embarrassment, because if you look at the entire package being given to clubs, I think it's less than actually, if you calculate well, the champions take 60 million.
Yes.
The second runner-up takes 20 million. That's 80 million. The third runner-up takes 9.6 million. That's already 8.9. 80.9. So if you calculate all these figures, it's less than 100. It's not more than 150 million. Because if the third runner-up takes only 7.6, then you look at all the clubs. Then the last clubs. In fact, if you figure out and see, the fourth position takes 7 million. The fifth, 5, 6, 4.5, 7th, 4 million, 8th, 3.5. Now, 9th, that was Express, is winning 2.8. Then UPDF 10th, 2.5. Then you look at Police, 2.4. I don't know why they have tried to put the margin in between Police and UPDF. I think because they're all force clubs. Because it doesn't make sense that in such a way that I am the 8th and I'm taking 3.5, and then the 9th takes 2. So now you look at this between the 10th and the 11th, the difference is only over 100,000. Then others, the difference is over 1 million. Then you look at the 12th. So if you calculate all the money, FIFA would have been ashamed, because the last time we had a meeting with Magogo at Tropical Shoots Hotel in Arua here, when he came here, he mentioned at least Ugandan football is now developing. Those days, they used to get maybe like 1 billion, 2 billion, but at the moment they can get 20 billion. So you could imagine now, you ask yourself, where is the 20 billion all going? If these are the clubs they pay huge money for participation fee, they use a lot of transport. Now the last team who takes only 500,000, you can imagine. So it's not worth it. And then paying this money also fails you at the end of the day. Now, for me, I think there is it's not in the right manner. Magogo should go and maybe work on his reserve for his squad, because I think there is a lot of maybe the way they are not using money in the right way in Ugandan Premier League upset, because you can't tell me that season 2023-2024 you haven't paid, you haven't given the rewardings. Doesn't mean he was waiting, because now the question on my side, like the way I take things, I think maybe he's still waiting for the campaign to come in, and then he awards these people their packages, so that it takes over that advantage that here, you see, Magogo did it on time, Magogo paid us. So I think it's a political move from Magogo himself.
Okay, Ray, let's talk about FIFA not giving the prize money to clubs for the season 2023-2024 season. That season it was AC Villa who were crowned champions of the Times Ghana Premier League. How about this season around, whereby Vipers were crowned champions? And remember, in total, FIFA is supposed to pay these clubs a very huge amount of money, around 256 million Ugandan shillings. This is the money that FIFA is supposed to pay. Pay to these clubs. Remember, 128 has not been paid to clubs last season, and this season around, we have to see whether FIFA has paid them.
It's still also 128.
And Gerald, to be honest, even if they pay this money, and if they don't pay this money, the money won't still be not enough. First take, let me just give, if you try to estimate the amount that the club normally use, it's always about 40 million plus. Now this 10 million, 7 million, seriously, me, I was just expecting Magogo maybe to just say, okay, at least for the least club, starting from this season, we have start going to give him 20 million at least there.
But
not wait.
Some of the money to FIFA, and where this money is going. Remember, the money that FIFA gets from CAF, instead that is being given by FIFA. Where this money is going?
That's why you need to. I told you, Magogo need to reserve most of his squad, and they need to be realistic to Ugandans, because these clubs puts in a lot, and at the same time they pay heavy taxes. At the same time, at times you see clubs making losses and due for the collapse. So. You look at a very good example of Aroa Hill that came out with a lot of pressure. But after realizing that there's no gate collection being shown up nicely, they had to turn down. They turned down because of low income capacity. So they put in a lot, as I said. So if they could talk maybe around 300 million to 600 million is going to be, or 1 billion is going to given to the champion, it wouldn't make sense, because I quote him saying, nowadays at least the president can now give us 20 billion for sports. So you can imagine. Now, where is the 20 billion going? You're telling me you're putting up a training center at Chambogo. You're putting up, you're trying to raise the standard of football in Uganda, whereby we are not even yet seeing the standards of football in Uganda. The referees are not being paid. They are not doing well. The referees do a lot of this money. For me, I think it could have been open and say, clubs are getting this amount of money, referees are catered for out of this amount of money, but nobody in Uganda will come out with a clear accountability, and that's what's killing Magogo and his team. He has been a good professional player, he's a good manager, he has good schools around who are doing better, but the truth is our football is actually going low and lower. Remember, if I'm to give you a good example, by the time of Mulindwa, Ugandans were overselling abroad.
Yes.
More than this time. Right now, most of the transfer moves that Ugandans do, they go through via South Sudan. That is the easiest one. Right now, those days you could see the likes of Hassan Mobiru in Switzerland. You could see the likes of Daniel or David Oboa in Scotland, whereby he used to make headlines. Right now, if you were to ask yourself, who's Uganda who is a player whom you know abroad, whereby every season and every time they publish about him on paper or online.
But Maurice,
So those are the development I'm talking about in football.
But Maurice, let's talk about the difference between Molindwa and the man Hussein Magogo.
Molindwa knew football. He was a businessman because football is all about business. He develops your talent. He sells you abroad. You oversell abroad. So here, to the extent whereby they even block other people's move going abroad. There's a lot of manyanga going on in this FUFA house, but people don't know.
So you mean Magogo should leave the role of being the FUFA president?
According to me, I think yes, because he's good at high politics. He made a very good high speech last time when he came at Tropical Shoots to meet the club owners and everything. I liked his speech, but you know, in Uganda people like good speech but poor implementation.
But Ray, let's talk about the decision that FIFA has taken. 2023-2024 did not pay clubs, and then 2024-25 season we are still uncertain whether Vipers has got his money.
Yeah, it's all about the FIFA, whether they're going to give the money or not, but they have to give it because it has been there previously, because if also they fail to give in this money, trust me, the level of the competition is also going to drop down. But this money that they're giving to the clubs, trust me, it's not worth it.
But why do you think that the FIFA is delaying all these things?
Maybe there's some 1 to 2 reasons why they are not clear.
But remember,
giving the money.
Remember, these clubs are paying their allowances actually fees to to participate in some of these games before. The inspection kind of things they're taking. Remember, these clubs spend a lot of money, but some of these monies that they're supposed to get this prize money, they're not given for 2 seasons now.
The only thing is, let them just carry an investigation to know the reason why they are failing to pay the money. But that's simple.
More lastly, maybe should clubs sue FIFA to court? What's to be done to see that their monies are paid?
Probably, you see, suing FIFA to court is not the reason. Yeah, it could be one of the reasons also, but there's no way you're gonna sue somebody who is bigger than you in court, and the court is being listened by them. So it is technically very wrong. For me in Uganda, or maybe nowadays when the rule have changed to now the UPDF are the one handling the court issues, I think it could work because military will handle things in the military way, but still is not technical because reaching up to court level, it doesn't show any kind of development in football in the country. So they should just wait for that. For me, I told you technically. I know this is a political move because after me paying the money, I know all the clubs will favor me that, hey, Magogo had paid us.
But this money is supposed to be paid at the end of the season.
Yes, but why the delay? Because they know. Now, okay, let me get back off spot a little bit. You see, when a politician comes in, he convinces you and he goes through. I'm going to work on this road. I'm going to work on the other hospital. He will keep quiet until the campaign starts. And this is the same saga. The campaign is going on whereby so soon the club delegates, the DFA delegates, are the one going to vote Magogo at FUFA house. You understand? So this is the real thing that for me, I'm understanding it in a different way. That is a political move because I know how things works in Uganda.
All right, Ray, let's talk about SC Villa. The CEO, in the names of Omar Mandela, has insisted that SC Villa were opposed to appoint the man in the names of Nemanja Milicic. But unfortunately, the big clubs on their way, and the Serbian is back to his own country. And SC Villa has been so much actually used to foreign coaches. Remember, the Englishman in the names of Jeff Horizon was one of them who has actually taken the team for quite some period of time. We have Antonio Flores. The Spaniards also worked with them. Need to also work with them. Then they also worked again with the Serbian in the names of Dusan Vlahovic. What is the biggest ambition that SC Villa is looking at foreign coaches?
The reason why SC Villa is looking at foreign coaches is SC Villa wants to hit the target. SC Villa is being known of great football things in this Ugandan league. To me, I will support that idea. Yes, if AC Villa wants to go for a foreign coach, yes, which means they want to hit their target. Because trust me, these foreign coaches, some are real outstanding. There are even men who have even come to Uganda, even prove, even this current national coach for Uganda. So why can't they also go for national team for international for international coaches? Because the reason why they are going is, yes, I think they came to realize, they are now good to go. They are good to handle every situation that will come on their way, and they also want to push to the next level. You understand? You see, nowadays football has become more competitive. So every club are trying to do their best to hit the target. I think that's the reason why AC Villa wants to sign.
But Morris, let's talk about AC Villa. I know you've been following this club for quite a long period of time. There's so much used to foreign coaches. They don't trust actually the local-based coaches. Mori Bokeso was in the assistant coach to Dusan Vlahovic, who kind of resigned last season. I remember Team AC Villa last season, they finished 6th, actually on the start times Ghana Premier League. They were 42 points adrift over champions, Vipers. What is AC Villa doing? Remember, they're the record champions of Ghana Premier League.
Probably the talks about no white coach, no coach next season. On my side, I see it as a joke because fine. Ever since 2003, I've been with Villa. 2004-2005, I've been with Villa. They had different type of coaches, and the reason is why. Local coaches, they are not bad. They are truly not bad. But the only problem, our fans undermine a lot local coaches. You understand? We are still locked up in this European era that without a white man or a colored man, we cannot do better. Jero, let me tell you one thing. It's only about the philosophy. A club should develop a manner whereby I could be able to take one offer to 2 offers to 3 offers just as a sacrifice to make someone's life better. Now, what if I say, okay, let me take Jero, let me take Ray to study coaching career, maybe in Netherlands, maybe in England. I think that could be one of the best approach we should see. You look at Cameroon, they have been trying. Look at Ghana. They have been trying without foreign coaches. There are a lot of African countries we saw playing better African Cup without foreign coaches. That shows the government are investing a lot into sports. It is the philosophy of our government. You're good at this. Where should we take you the most? By this time I could be seeing the Mbabazis, the Vie Kwasos, the Odot James, the Dennis Obua, who is trying also somewhere to be studying the next courses of coaching. Even competing up to the international level. Because if you keep on undermining your own fellow people, that means you don't want them to develop. Now, this foreign coach will come and you see they are paying him maybe $5,000 or maybe let me say $10,000. What if you give this money to your fellow local coach? It's only we are still jealous with our own people. We are very happy with the head of whites, which is not right. For me, I don't support that as a good thing, but technically it will help them because they are used into the system. They want the trophy with the foreign coach, but all of a sudden there may be lack of pay, lack of what, the guy left. So yeah, you don't find like our coaches were a little bit used of maybe even a bubble agreement. I'm going to give you this, but these international coaches, they will always pen and paper down, whereby in most cases in Ugandan clubs, it's very rare. So it's better we begin looking for how can we promote these coaches to go up to international level. Now it goes back to Fufa Magogo himself, the president. You understand? Because if Mulindo had managed to sell these players out and make for him money, and it had made names for him, and it had made a lot of pride for these players, then why shouldn't he do that so? He's supposed to do so. So it's all about, we should bring back our mentality, and I trust Ray that, Ray, you're gonna be a coach to my school for 5 years. Give me your what? Give me your highlights. How do you see? Give me your vision. How do you see this club within a period of 5 years? How do you see this school within a period of 5 years? That's why they always give these coaches. A coach will come and say, give me a period of 3 years, you'll see changes in your clubs. Now in Uganda, is there the coach or even a player? So how will I know that this? How will I know that? How will I get to know a player? How you don't transport your scouts? You don't have scouts. A full club like maybe even Villa, they don't. This big league, I could be seeing who was the top scorer in big league. So I'm coming to the point.
AC Villa has got is actually agents.
No, they have, but the truth is they don't give them a lot of money. Now you want, instead of like you investing in these local guys to make work better, you want to bring in somebody else. Or there's also another way around, because I've ever seen in these clubs, this one will bring his brother. The other, hey coach, my brother is good. Then your brother comes and fails. So I think dealing with a foreign coach also at times, it outline those kind of related deals of I brought my brother or I brought my cousin into the club. I think that's how it is. But they should have a better structure from scouting, from coaching era, and this is the advice I could give maybe to the viewers who are watching. Our clubs must begin taking coaches for higher training, the way we want to do for our coach also.
Let's talk about AC Villa. Remember, they're one of the community clubs in Ugandan football, and their fan base is always very strong, and their fans are always very demanding. So when the fans demand, the fans can always do everything to see that the club signs. Remember when they signed a coach in the name of Stefanovic in there, it was the fans who kind of contributed. Remember, they have their actual kind of setups in there. There's silver in their team, there's gold. The fans always have those kind of setups. You understand? To see that these man is contributed, that he wants the game fully for the season. So AC Villa financially they're stable. But let's talk about why they don't trust actual local coaches. Is it because they are looking at remember their team that more signs actually local based actual players from the Masasa Cup, players who play in the regional league. That's AC Villa for you. Why is that they don't trust local coaches? Is it because these local coaches don't give what we call their best to see that these local based actual players are grown, or is they are promoted to some level?
No, it's not like that. It's only that they don't trust local players, the local coaches. I'm telling you the fact. Let me give you example of Livingstone Babazi. How many courts? But no, I'm just giving you an example.
But we all know Charles Livingstone Babazi is
the problem. Okay, the problem we as Africans is we do the things just in a short run. We don't go for future. Like I can come, I will say, okay, give me 3 years. Let me run your project. But before these 3 years, when you see things are not coming, now that's when you start now putting pressure. That's when you now start talking against me. Hey, let us sack this guy. He's not doing this. Well. You see, those are the minor problems that we are facing in Ugandan football. If we could give time to our coaches, trust me, we will achieve our aims and objectives. Then, second, the other thing that I've seen with these most coaches here in Uganda is money. Money is at times also killing the coaches. I may start befriending one of the players. I will say, okay, let's do like this. Give me some amount of money. I will send you, even if you have not get that form. I'll still force you to play. Then at the end of the day, it will start affecting the club. The club coming down due to what? Poor performance. You see, corruption. I can just say corruption is just killing most of the also coaches in Uganda. They like money, but they don't show it. But you can see, if you're keen, you even see. But we don't expose it to the world. But those are the minor things. That's why most of the clubs nowadays are referring to go to the what? To the
Modi, let me come back to you. So we say that Modi Bokaso has become one of the opportunists in Ugandan football currently. Remember, the coaches in Ugandan football, they're taught to be opportunists. One of the names I can mention to open it is attached to Livingstone Babazi. Where there's money, he's always there. And Modi Bokaso, he was with the KCCA. He crossed over to the national team. And sometimes he was working with the under 23s of Uganda Cranes. And then again, ST Villa called him, he went in. And then when FIFA called him, again, he has joined them. You see, an opportunist.
You see, most of these, and a serious coach will always not mind too much about money, because if you remember when Onduparaka just broke through and Betway came in, Babazi was the first person to come in. When they had problems with Onduparaka, Betway left, and he also left, went to Chetume and everything like that. When Onduparaka got a deal again with MTN, Mbabazi came back. So for him, he's always wise in according to where there's money, he's always very wise. But then you always see the deliverance is always poor. Whereby for me, this is a high time. He's not a bad coach, but if they could take him for further studies, as my colleague said, yeah, those things happen in football. Even in the national team, not only in Uganda, even abroad, it happens. At times you find somebody is there in the national team, but he or she had never played even a single game, but there is no any single game this person will miss traveling. You understand? So corruption is also part of it. So it's true that we Ugandans, we need to do a lot on improvement of coaching abilities. Don't talk about even only players or coaches, even the referees. You understand? So these are the kind of things actually Magogo should begin looking at. What causes fight into the games? Why is it happening every time in Uganda? Every time banning a club is being banned because of this and this hooliganism and something like that. Why? So I think it's down from the coach, because at times coaches shows reaction to fans. So it will provoke fans that, okay, if our coach can react to this referee, then who are we not to go and beat the referee? So that's why if you didn't have more studies, you always be arrogant onto the touchline, quarreling with players. Because if you're arrogant on the touchline, you talk the way you feel like, then how will a player, our local coaches, those are the downfalls. So we still need a lot to do. All
right, more to leave that, and then we talk to the next program here.
But the view of ST Villa going for a foreign coach, it helps them, but it will not help the nation.
All right, let's leave that at that, and we'll talk about the international sports. One of the biggest stories making headlines just this evening is about Chelsea Football Club. Remember, they have signed in the names of João Pedro from Brighton and Hove Albion, one of the prolific goal scorers for Brighton last season in the English Premier League. He banged around a couple of goals for Brighton and Hove Albion. Remember, Chelsea have just signed Jamie Gittens from Brighton for a big money move, and again they have signed in a player in the names of João Pedro, who is a striker, and then there's Liam Delap into the mix. What is Chelsea up to? Remember, Tony Bully has money to spend in the transfers.
Yes. We should watch Chelsea. The reason why Chelsea does all these transfers, he tried to take the performance of Chelsea last season. Yeah, Chelsea has been playing, but their goal tally has been down because Chelsea has been just leaning on who? Jackson. So this time, and I think it's a good time for the coach to sign more than 2 strikers, so that, and because there are so many leagues, and to be honest, yeah, Jackson has been the only striker for Chelsea, and I like even I don't even even reach like
Okay.
seven goal like
Let's
14
talk about,
goals.
Let's talk about why Chelsea is actually bringing more.
Let me come. Let me
on
come.
board.
Let me come. The reason why they are signing these strikers because I said earlier on, Jackson has been just the leading striker there, and bringing Delap and bringing this guy from Brighton because why like they have been watching them how they play in their previous club. Now bringing them here in Chelsea, trust me, is going to add in some more values. You understand? Because this time, the reason why they are signing is Chelsea is targeting top 2. I'm telling you the fact.
Okay, let's talk about the project that Todd Bowley and Enzo Maresca have in Chelsea, signing a top-notch striker in the names of João Pedro. Then again, he signed in a player in the names of Liam Delap, a striker also from Ipswich, who banged around 15 plus goals in the Premier League last season. Then a 20-year-old guy from Borussia Dortmund in the names of Jamie Gittin, who have got that African origin. Where do you see Chelsea with all these signings? Remember, João Pedro is supposed to have his medicals tomorrow with Chelsea Football Club, and he's straight to go to Europe. To USA to see that he plays for Chelsea in the FIFA Club World Cup. That's currently going on in US.
It's going to be quite a good achievement to Chelsea, and Maresca likes young players, young talented kids. All these kids whom he's trying to buy and everything, they're all good. They're all good players. But the only problem will come where are you going to take the man whom they bought with a lot of money? That is Jackson. How are you going to bench him? Because it's so painful. Like you bench a player whom was so demanded highly. And that's why now, and that's where a problem comes in. And that's why you see Nkunku is trying to struggle to move away because he's seeing now the competition will become so tight. You understand? Up front, Chelsea, because I think Neto went back to his former club. He was under, he was on loan. So if you look at how Neto used to operate in the flank, it was so wonderful. Now, if you're missing Neto, you need to bring in someone like Delap. He can operate from the flank. So all these are wonderful kids. It will now show the formation. How will the players get used together? That's my question. And then how will he utilize them? That's also another question. But these are wonderful players. If they give them opportunity of like 3 to 4 years, Chelsea is going to be one of the best team in England.
Ray, let's look at Chelsea football technically. What formation do you prefer Chelsea Football Club using all the signings that they have got at their disposal right now? You have Jamie Gittins, you have Modric in there, you have Neto in them, there's Liam Delap, there's what we call Christopher Kuku is in the mix, you have Jackson, then you have a player in the names of João Pedro. What kind of formation does Chelsea Football Club? Should they stick to 4-2-3-1 formation, or should they use 4-3-3 formation to see that all these players are accommodating to one score?
Yeah, I believe 4-3-3 will work best.
Why?
Because if you try to see the flanks that the Chelsea are trying to bring in, these are all pacey guys, these are all sub guys who can play. Now if you try to see the midfield of Chelsea, it's so outstanding. The defense wise and the goalkeeping department, it's so transforming. And to me, I would just say that 4-3-3 will be the best formation for Chelsea to work this season. If Chelsea wants to hit that nail, trust me, on the 4-3-3.
Alright, before we talk about the FIFA Club World Cup games coming up today, let's talk about Nico Williams. His story seems to be hitting up a snag, and currently the deal is on hold. Barcelona Football Club have been chasing this guy seriously from Team Atletico Bilbao. Remember, it has been reported this evening that Team Atletico Bilbao is willing to sell Nico Williams to Bayern Munich instead of Team Barcelona. Why all this?
First of all, I think they do fear their rivals, Barcelona, because if you look at the upfront of Barcelona, then you add in a youngster by the name of Nico Williams, who is now too useful in the Spanish national team with Yamin Yamal. All these are two young lads. I think Barca will be one of the most dangerous club to watch in Spain next season. But on my side, I don't fancy this this kind of way whereby you don't give opportunity to a player where he wants to go, because it's my desire. What if now he refuses to go to Bayern? But it doesn't make sense that you want to come at great. They want to sell you maybe to Anyafio FC. It doesn't make sense at all. For me, I don't look at that as a good development for the player himself. It will be a good development for the club, but for the player, he might have lost this kind of mentally. It will not be fit mentally. He's a very young player. He didn't have interest to play for Bayern, but now they are forcing you to go and play for Bayern. It's not wise. It's not wisely enough. That's according to me. Mentally, it's going to torture this guy. Physically, he's a good player, but not the club of his choice. And you have nothing to do. That means you need to go and just run what they call business. You just go and do business, get the money, but you're not interested of being maybe what you wanted to achieve.
Okay, Ray, let's talk about the game that happened yesterday between PSG and Team Inter Miami of Lionel Messi. Remember, they were one of 4-0. But you could see the presence of Lionel Messi being a threat to PSG players. And then Sergio Busquets had one of the biggest games yesterday of Team Inter Miami. How do you rate Lionel Messi's performance yesterday in the game against PSG?
Let me first start with PSG. Yesterday, I remember telling you, PSG is a determined club now. Because one, they have been just dominating the domestic league, then the Champions League, then also two, coming for this game, which means there's still something that they are looking for, and they have been hyped. So they had that morale. Yes, and I remember telling you, when PSG will be going for this game, they will start putting pressure on Inter Miami from the first minute up to the last minute. Did it happen? It happened. They got all the four goals within the first half. But now coming to Inter Miami, I will kind of blame the coach, because I think the coach was trying to the tactics that the coach uses. If you could see the first half that the Inter Miami had, they were like as if their body language was not all that good. The pressing was not until they came in second half. You see, reaching the second half, how Messi started how Messi started showing his tactics. And to me yesterday, Messi was just trying to tell the world that he's still among the top flight players, trying to prove to the world. Because yesterday's game was he really made me so happy, and I really enjoyed his game. Much as he lost the game, but he was trying to prove the whole world that he's still among the leading players in the world.
Maurice, I know you watched this game yesterday. How do you see the performance of Messi or Inter Miami? And then,
let me tell you one thing. The question would have been, how did you see the performance of Vitinha? How did you see the performance of maybe the young man by the name of Dembele? At the moment, you see,
Dembele came off the bench.
He came up to the bench, but still, he did something good. You see, at the moment, there's no doubt, PSG is the best club in the world. At the moment, I do accept that. Could be followed by maybe by a team Liverpool at the moment. I don't understand. But at the end of the day, that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
I know you have that. That's why you're saying that.
That's my opinion. You'll come also with your opinion. Inter Miami, first of all, you need to know that this is a club based in US. Most players go to Inter Miami for their retirement. Their season is off. They are just now going for their retirement packages. So they don't play serious football in US. Actually, in US, they what they love mostly is basketball and American football.
Yeah, American
football. Football, they don't take it as a big issue. They have just started developing football recently, whereby Inter Miami was not going to be a big threat. I even said it last time. Inter Miami is not going to be a threat to PSG, although they'll try to be using that home ground and everything, being home within the premises of US, could be with the fans and everything. But all still, for me, I still give the best respect to PSG.
All right. In the FIFA Club World Cup, in the round of 16, the games coming up today, we have Inter Milan up against Fluminense. Again, that will be at 10 p.m. East African time. Then we have Manchester City up against Al Hilal at around 4 a.m. in the morning. That's Ugandan time. Whether you'll be watching that game, I don't know. That's the time when people mostly enjoy sleeping. At 4 a.m. in the morning, I don't think Maurice he can wake up and start watching that game.
I do remember I used to follow such games, but at the moment I am a little bit busy, something like kind of. So I cannot wake up at 4 a.m. Then I begin watching till 6. Then later on you need to go for work. So the only game I may watch could be the one for Inter Milan and Fluminense, because the way they are trying to do something great. They are trying to show that Brazilians have the talent. They have one of the best young lads around. They have one of the best players around. Whereby I'm trying to see Inter didn't perform so well in the Champions League. Even in the Italian Serie A, they finished the second with same points with Napoli. It's only goal difference. So it's going to be a hard game. Although Inter like playing this kind of traditional football, sitting back, but the game to watch, I think, is Fluminense. That's what I want to follow.
Ray, what's your take about Inter and Fluminense, or as Manchester City up against Al Hilal?
I think the game to watch is Man City against Al Hilal, because this game Guardiola is going to do his best. Because I think the only cup that Guardiola haven't taken is what is this league, isn't it, right? That's why he's taking this game seriously. And to me, I think this game, Man City is going to take it seriously. Though also the other teams may also say, we can't also just lose it like that. You know, football is football. You just expect anything at the end of the minutes. So that game is still going to be tight.
More, let's talk about the individuals in that team of Manchester City. Let's talk about Omar Mahmoud, who has been so phenomenal for them. Then Ryan Chiki, that the team has signed from Olympique Lyon. You have Erling Braut Haaland, that they've signed newly. Basically, where do you see this team of Manchester City with all these signings? Remember, Rinda is one of the players that they signed in, and he'll be partner in that 2 military setup with the Rodri for Team Manchester City. Where do you see Manchester City with all these signings?
If you look at the signings, wonderful signings, good one. But
Antonio from Wolves.
Yeah, Neri from Wolves. He has been an outstanding player, a very good one. And City has been also performing in this league, very fantastic games. They've been actually scoring for fun. They only had a 3-3 draw, kind of. Yeah, then remember, Al Hilal also is another tricky team. People should not take them for granted, because they managed to draw with Real Madrid, kind of like 1-1. They came and pushed some win a little bit. And if you look at their players, some of the players also, like the Cancelo, the Koulibaly, these are aged players, but with experience. So I think for me, the Neves, I think City will use only. If you look at Malcolm was from, I think, Bayern Munich. If you look at most of their players, Bono is still also there into the mix of Al Hilal. If you look at most of their players, looks also aged up. It's the same. It's like the same league. Although they're one of the best clubs in Saudi Pro League. So it's now high time to prove to the world that Saudi Pro League is also kind of coming up. Is more heavier than maybe Premier League. They should now prove to us that, yeah, let's eliminate Man City out. I think then I'll give them big credit. But them remaining in the league up to this level, it shows something that they were capable of doing anything. And see, they're capable of doing anything. For me, if they eliminate Man City, it's also my happiness. Because they should know that there are some other leagues down there which is very tough. And this high time now, we should also begin watching the Saudi Pro League. You know, we I think in Uganda, in the entire of Africa, we like following Ugandan. We only like following Premier League. Others don't even follow Spanish. Yet I do believe, I think it's high time now we should begin following the Saudi Pro League, the Japanese League. Those days I used to follow, but nowadays a little bit I'm a little bit catch up with a lot of things to do. But my prediction, I think I am seeing both teams to score. Al Hilal will win 2-1.
You're giving a win for Real. Massive
win to Al Hilal. 2-1.
Okay, let me give you some comprehensive statistics about this game. Manchester City have won their last 5 matches in all competitions. That's a huge one for Manchester City. And then Al Hilal are unbeaten in their last 6 matches in all competitions. And remember, Manchester City have scored a total of 18 goals in their last 5 matches in all competitions. Then Al Hilal have kept a clean sheet in their last 3 games in all competitions. What a game that will be transparent in the morning between Al Hilal and Manchester City. One of the biggest, but let's leave it at that and talk about Arsenal. They are interested in a player in the names of Ebrett Eze from Crystal Palace. What is Arsenal up to? Is Ebrett Eze the player that Arsenal needs at the moment, or is they need a striker, or is they need what we call a midfielder to replace Thomas Partey? Remember, today will be the day that his contract will officially end with the Arsenal Football Club.
To me, my suggestion was this season Arsenal could just focus on more getting strikers, and it's also to a midfielder. Because if you try to see last season, Arsenal has all the good quality players from back line to front, but the only leaking place is only the finishing line. So I was just suggesting Arsenal should just look on typical striker for this season and just concentrate a little bit in the midfield, because if you try to see Partey is leaving, and this guy, the captain, he has been overused. You understand? Also injuries also there. And by the way, also Saka is also trying to get tired because they are overusing these players. So I was just suggesting that this season the coach with the names of Arteta should just concentrate on what in the finishing line.
Let's talk about the front line of Arsenal, mostly comprising of black players. I'm not being racist, you understand? I'm not being racist here. You have Bukayo Saka on the other side, then you have Ebrett Eze on the other side, then up front.
You haven't arrived. If you happen to arrive,
I'm just giving
in case. Okay. You look at the point whereby I know the reason why Arsenal are going for Eze. One, Martinelli is more likely to leave at any time to Bayern or another team. So you need to look at the replacement as early as possible, so that the player gets used within the system. So it's a good business, because if you look at Eze, he's still a young lad, and he knows where the goal is. He knows where the goal is. He knows everything. So for me, on my side is it's a good move for Arsenal. Let them just go and pick the player and call it a done business.
Remember, on our total, someone is saying that Arsenal one side all the types of players. Is that the reality on the total? That's according to Dennis Rogers. That's his comment about Brett's story. The team of Arsenal, remember, Leonard Trossard came into Arsenal, he's struggling, he's not having much of the playing time. A new guy came in from the academy in the names of Ethan Nwari. In case Arsenal signs Brett Eze, will he that the team is having?
Yes, definitely. He will even fit the team squad, because these guys, if you try to follow how he has been playing in Crystal Palace, and this guy has been, I think, among one of the leading strikers and also the leading player that the Crystal Palace has been eyeing on, and him coming to, if I told he will come to Arsenal, yes, it will be a good move. Then, for Arsenal, and he's going to make
someone is again saying that the Arsenal should sign a Brett Eze and they should forget about Rodrigo of Team Real Madrid. Viewers, that does it for our sports show today. We are so humbled to see that you were catching the show live in there. Wherever you were catching the show live from, I would like to say thanks so much for it being hooked to Sara TV. Maurice, I know it has been raining outside. What's your parting shot before we leave the studios?
I think it's high time that the ball games are coming for the primary kids. I think the coaches who are going to be with the primary kids, please.
Remember, we might release some of these games live here on the TV.
We need to train them with discipline, and you should actually focus on discipline issues, because I think everything begins from home. If you get a disciplined players, even you will win in a disciplined manner. Don't drink and drive. Love you all. Till next time, thanks for Sara TV.
All right, Ray, what's your parting shot?
I can just say to my viewers, God first. Before you sleep, pray. When you wake up, say thanks to God. That's
All right, thanks so much for viewing actually Satellite TV, and it has been the spot on program here with us, with my colleagues here in the building. Up next will be a big political show. Stay hooked to Satellite TV. After this, we shall be coming back with what we call the political war. I've got one of the biggest actually young lads, the sign of West Nile. He'll be coming in, and we shall be discussing why he opted to join politics. We shall be discussing about that shortly. It has been me, Zero, the host of the show. I had Ray with me, then I had my friend, that's none other than Robanga Ken Morris, the only fighter actually in the whole world.
In the whole world. Thank you.
Yes, thanks so much for always being with Sarah TV.